Well, hello and welcome to Talk Leadership with Cedrick. You know, everybody needs a little TLC. Talk Leadership with Cedrick is where we focus on leadership and personal growth with business leaders, educators, and local thought leaders. Our goal is to introduce our audience to leaders who are making an impact with innovative ideas. See, our guiding leadership principle is the law of contribution. The law of contribution simply says, growing yourself enables you to grow others. See, you can't give what you don't have. So first, you have to grow yourself, then you can grow others. We believe that outstanding leaders like yourself will help us to help others. So tonight, we have another dynamic leader with us. You know, every week, I like to do a proper introduction of our guests. So let me do a proper introduction of our special guest tonight. Mr. LaDarrell Hopkins is our guest. Welcome, LaDarrell.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Cedrick.
Well, I'm excited that you're here. So LaDarrell has led over 3,000 talks on sales, marketing, and business development. His ability to identify and create valuable and diverse relationships fast helped him to become a top seller in the pharmaceutical industry, winning awards for sales and multiple brand selling. This is just a fancy way to say that he creates value with a variety of products in a very efficient way. As president and CEO of the Green Thumb Consultant LLC, he partners with clients to help with business development, personal development, and sales training. He thoroughly understands the challenges that both the employee and the employer face. LaDarrell was recently nominated as the 2020 National Sales Network President for the Houston chapter. He is also a co-host of the relationship podcast, Hop Into a Healthy Relationship. That's pretty cool. Hop Into Healthy Relationships, where he and his wife dive into spicy issues. Y'all better get some of that. Spicy issues like blended families, conflict resolution, current events, and many other things. He's a power member of the Association of Talent Development and an International Coach Federation affiliate, which is a leading global organization for coaching professionals. He's a husband, a father, a speaker, an author, a seed grower, an achiever, a believer, and one of the biggest allies for your personal growth. He is also the author of The Unspoken for Winning Language, a universal approach to winning any conversation. He calls it the Growth Project. The Unspoken for Winning Language offers an engaging perspective from a diverse value seller. The book discusses real life data and then puts some flavor put some flavor on it through real world stories, creative analogies, and powerful lessons to help us all grow together. You will learn when to talk, but more importantly, you will learn when you need to talk to yourself. You will learn simple methods that will help you communicate more effectively with almost anyone in the world, develop persuasion and communication skills, all while becoming entertained and engaged by someone that has created value from the streets to the C-suites. So let's welcome Mr. LaDarrell Hopkins to the show.
Thank you, Cedrick. That was an awesome introduction. We don't have to do any more. I'm out of here. I'll talk to y'all later. Let me get out of here. That was awesome, man. Thank you so much, Cedrick. I appreciate it.
Hey, no, you're welcome, and I'm glad you're able to be on the show tonight. So I'm excited to talk with you. So let's just dive right on into some questions that I have for you. So guys, Go ahead and get ready to take some notes and tune in to Mr. LaDarrell Hopkins. So I know I read your bio. I didn't read your entire bio, but tell our audience a little bit about your journey to leadership and how did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, that's a great question, Cedric. I've always been a hand, man. I've always performed. I used to perform on stage all the time, and I didn't really know what to do with that energy and that voice. But I've always felt like, I could lead, but I needed people to guide me in leadership. So, we've talked about this personally. A lot of times you can be the loudest one or the most powerful voice in the room, but you need some direction and guidance. So I've been speaking my entire life since I was 3-4 years old on stage. But it took a while for me to really meet the right mentors to get me in the right direction. That all started when I went to Prairie View A&M and met some of my frat brothers that mentored me at that time. And then when I got into pharmaceutical sales, as you know, I started meeting great district managers, area sales directors, and things of that nature. And that's kind of how I fell in the lap of the National Sales Network. That's when I met a really good friend of mine, Mike Lipford, and the rest is history when it comes to the National Sales Network. Clearly he's a great salesperson because I hadn't left since. So.
Well, that is awesome. We'll talk about the National Sales Network here in just a little bit. But so tell us a little bit about your business because you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, so I've been in business on my own for about 5 years now. I used to be in pharmaceutical sales, left pharmaceuticals to do lab and compound pharmacy contracts. I made a decent amount of money there, but those labs were like growing like weeds, especially in the Houston area. And I really had to have a talk with myself and say, this is not really what I want to do my whole life. I don't want to be chasing labs, these Me Too labs that really weren't giving the benefits that they were really selling. They were just there for the quick buck. So I had to make a moral decision. And so I went into business for myself. And then I got a coach, and that coach told me that, hey, you should go into consulting. So I started consulting for small businesses because I had already started consulting for the medical field, a lot of my physicians. And so when you're in the lab game, what happens that's a lot different from pharmaceutical sales is, especially what kind of pharmaceutical sales company you're with, you'll have 4 or 5 drugs or products and services or whatever. And then you go in, you have your one pager. No, in the lab game, it's every man for himself. You're trying to sign contracts, you're trying to make investment deals, and you have to sell why your lab is better than the 2,000 other labs in the Houston area. Mm-hmm. And so what I would do, and we both know this, I'm a value seller. I like to make people think outside of the box, right? So instead of focusing on my lab services, I would go into doctors' offices and I would say, hey, I noticed that you have about 3 to 4 patients in here every day. I want to increase your patient load. So instead of, you can use the same lab that you're using, but if I can increase your patient load and these people need drug testing or these people need these services, can you give your new patients my product? Can you use my product on your new patients? And I started focusing on the consulting piece for free, to grow their brand. And a lot of them and my mentor and my coach was saying, man, you need to just do this full time. Like, you have a passion for this. And I've always had a passion for helping people grow, but I never looked at it in the perspective of consulting. And I think for me, I was always a part of big pharma or big businesses. And I never thought that each individual doctor that I was going to was actually a business.
Yeah.
It was a business. And so over 15 years of experience with these doctors, I built a lot of relationships, whether they were in the medical center, Texas City, Dallas, Austin. I mean, you name it. I was just building really good relationships. So I leveraged those relationships and started consulting for doctors. And then some of them were just like, hey, man, you want to speak. Why are you not doing that more? And as a leader, you grow through that, right? You grow through that. I've always wanted to speak. I've always had a passion for speaking. I've had opportunities with National Sales Network. I've spoken to the Houston Rockets, as you know, you've done that. And the other thing that I've done a lot lately is done a lot of more sales trainings, a little bit more transformational speaking, motivational stuff. And my heart is always in the speaking, but the money's in the consulting right now. especially with COVID going on, there's not a lot of people paying thousands of dollars for a speaker right now, unless you're like a Tony Robbins or something like that.
Right. Well, that's why I just call him and tell him, hey, this is Tony Robbins.
Right. Similar. I'm close.
So give us the name of your company.
Yeah, so I have the Green Thumb Consultant, and then I have LaDarrell Hopkins Speaks, which is a DBA under the Green Thumb Consultant. But what I do with LaDarrell Hopkins Speaks is more personal development and growth. With the Green Thumb Consulting, I'm still consulting for more of the medical field. I do some small businesses, some nonprofit organizations as well. When I do that, I do more statistical analysis to help their businesses grow, get more customers in the door, whether that be by social media, advertising, or just strategically having better communications with the customers. We do surveys and stuff like that. But my heart and passion is really in helping people create more value in their voice so they can tell better stories. And when I first started off in my business, I didn't think that I could do both of them at the same time. But what I started realizing, Jay-Z has this line, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. And so I started realizing that the same way I treated my physicians as a business and their practice as a business, I needed to treat individual people as a business. So then I started helping people with their interview skills. I started helping people with their actual voice because I got a voice scholarship to go to college. And so not only did I sing and get a voice scholarship, I was very in tune with articulation and volume and pitch and what things interviewers wanted to hear and how they wanted to hear it. And so I just started becoming a student and becoming a sponge in the speaking arena because I just love performing so much. It was all an experience. It kind of just aligned with me, Cedrick.
Yeah, well, and that's awesome. And one of the things you said is you started looking at every entity you were talking to as a business, right? They all fit within your business model, but then you have to look at each entity as a separate business. And did you think that helped did you think that helped kept you focused on their specific needs versus just what your needs are?
Most definitely. My father, my brother, I mean, pretty much everybody on my father's side, they're engineers, right? They're all engineers. They like to take things apart, put things back together, all that. And me, I didn't get that engineer thing, but I got that kind of like creative space on, let me take it apart and try to put it together. I'm big on knowing your sales strengths and the strength finder and all that. And my biggest thing, I've taken the test 4 times. My biggest thing every time is maximizer. I like to take something good and make it great, period. So whenever I work with a personal client or if I'm working with a big business, small business, it doesn't matter. I look at what you have. I start at a baseline and I say, okay, this is what you have that's great. This is what we have that's good. And this is what we may have that may be a challenge or something that we can work on. And then I do like a deep dive analysis. I do all kinds of research specifically on, okay, you told me in our initial meeting that you wanted to do A, B, and C. This is how we get A, B, and C done. This is how much time it's going to take. Here's my fee. But I have to do it differently for everyone because, I've helped small businesses that were, because small businesses that were multi-million-dollar businesses. I've helped startups. I've helped businesses that maybe had like $80 in their bank account, but we turned it around. It's all about how you want to manage your business. And I definitely feel like, especially this year has been very interesting because there's so many people that are becoming entrepreneurs almost by accident or by default because they're losing jobs. And so it's always good to have the 5 years of experience that I had because I knew my first year or two was not fun. And so analyzing and understanding it and having the experience and being in pharmaceutical sales for 15 years, you know how it is out there in the field. It's almost like you're working for yourself.
Sure.
Yeah. And so it kind of, it allowed me to transition a lot better when I did become an entrepreneur full time.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm going to ask you this question and then we're going to get to someone from the audience asked a question. Crescendia Guillory asked a question. So, but along these lines, for your business, what separates your business from other people who are in the leadership development space? Or more importantly, I guess it's why should someone contract with you versus all the other people that's in that leadership development space?
Yeah, there's a few things that makes me different, and I say this on my so I have this segment that I do on IG called Tell a Story Tuesday, and the one thing that's really setting me apart from other people in this space is that I don't take on every client that we interact with, and I think that's important for people to understand, especially in this time. I think that you have to have a work-life balance, and if I see a customer that may be too much for me to handle, I'm going to pass them on to a colleague or a friend of mine. But if it's something that I find challenging and I know that I can help them, I'm going to do it. But what separates me is when I'm in. And I'm going to help you and I grow together. That's why my thing is let's grow together. Because I think, and we're all familiar with sales, but I think people forget how important sales is to everyone. I believe we're all salespeople, and I believe that embedded in sales is great communication. If you're a great communicator, you're probably a good salesperson. And I've been in sales my entire life, and I want people to understand that the most important product that they will ever sell is themselves. And a lot of people that are consulting, a lot of people that are in my space, they don't recognize the importance of the sales part because people think that sales is a dirty word. And I'm here to tell you, sales is not a dirty word. It's not just the car salesman trying to sell you a lemon car. Sales is maximizing communication. The 1%ers that are the best at selling to people worldwide close the least amount. And the reason they take the least amount of time to close a client is because they give so much value up front. They give you so much value up front that when it's time to close and cross the T's and dot the I's, there is no question from the customer whether they're going to use that person. And what makes it unique, especially in this space, Cedrick, is that you and I both know that, especially in Texas, there are certain regions and certain areas that you can go to looking like me that may have a Confederate flag, that may have other things on the wall when you walk into these offices, that may have questionable artwork. And the thing that's different with me is that people can say that they sell well, people can say that they do business or consult well, but I have been around so many diverse types of people in physicians, in business, people that normally probably would not do work with me, but they do in spite of their other issues they might have. And that is selling value. That's how you can have someone that hates you. You can have someone that doesn't like you, they whatever, your race or whatever. But the fact that they will still do business with you speaks volumes about how much value you add to their life, period.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So Ms. Guillory asks, what are your thoughts on performance improvement as a growing field? And the second part to this question is, how should those interested in the field position themselves to eventually become a consultant? Or do you think they should start in HR first?
That is okay. Those are a couple questions. I think that's a great question. So Cedrick alluded to something in his intro about looking within. So my thing is, in order to be considered a teacher, you have to first be the student. My advice, if anything, you need to read a lot of leadership books, a lot of personal development and growth books, a lot of performance books. I'm big on habit hacking books, performance books, leadership books. I'm big on my book. I'm not going to promote that right now, but anything that puts you in the driver's seat, because a lot of times people don't know this about their own audience. I try to help people find their audience, right? Right. And people think that you have to be an expert in everything. No, you just have to be a little bit better than your audience. Okay. Right. For me, I used to want to compare myself to the Les Browns and the Tony Robbins and all my mentors and everybody that's just give yourself the time, LaDarrell. you're there. So my advice to you is that if you really want to go into this, I think that it's a phenomenal place. Performance improvement. I think without a shadow of a doubt, everybody wants to improve, especially in 2020 and this year where a lot of things are virtual. It's like when you get the opportunity to go live and you want to make sure that you're on your game. So I hope, and again, I tell people this all the time, 2020 is not a quarantine. It is a what? What do I say, Cedric? A cocoon. 2020 is a cocoon. What comes after a cocoon? Something beautiful. So I would suggest to her to definitely do more research in it. Read, YouTube, Google, do everything that you can. Definitely reach out to me or Cedric. We can have a more in-depth discussion on the details of specifically what you're trying to do in this realm. But yeah, and I think I don't know if I would start in HR. What do you think about that part, Cedric?
Yeah, I don't know that I would tell you to start in HR. Here's what I will tell you. If the dream is your dream, then go after it. See, you don't have to start with experience in the area, right? All you have to do is have a dream and then take action. I'll give you some examples. Okay. If you go and look at doggone it, Phil Knight, when he started Nike, right? He didn't have all of this experience when he started. He just knew that he had a dream. Yeah. Him and Bill Bowerman, and they had his dream, and then they went after it. And now Nike is the biggest shoe brand around, right? When Ray Kroc started, right? When he went to the McDonald's brothers, he didn't have all this experience. He was a sales guy, but he didn't have all this experience in franchising. He just knew he had a dream, and then he went after it. He owned that dream. So as long as you know that that's your dream, own it and go after it. In fact, what I want you to do, Miss Guillory, I don't want to mess up your first name. I like it, but I just don't want to mess it up. So I'm going to call you Miss Guillory. Miss Guillory, what I want you to do is at 6:30 tonight, 6:30 Central Time, right after this show is over, go on Facebook, go to the Empowered Living Facebook page. And there's going to be two. Look for the one that has 2 million subscribers. Okay. At 6:30, I'm going to be doing a teaching on there that's called Own Your Dream. And I'm telling you, just listen to the whole presentation. I'm not going to try to sell you anything or anything like this. We're teaching you about owning your dream. And when you own your dream, nothing, no one can stop you. So check that out. Thank you for those 3 questions. That was awesome. So LaDarrell, you in 2020, you became the president of the National Sales Network, Houston chapter. So what's been the most exciting part of the role?
Yeah, I think the most exciting part is it's been a roller coaster. You know, you're dealing with people, mostly eyes. You know, we've talked about that. You're dealing with charismatic, talkative, warm-hearted people that love to sell and communicate. And everything got shut down by March, you know. So it's like you have this
excitement. No,
it's like salivating at the mouth. Oh, it's 2020 vision. I get to meet and connect. Oh, by the way, you can't do none of that. Like it's been such a roller coaster, but it's been fun. Again, because I think of this as a cocoon. I feel like whatever anybody believes in, source energy, God, whatever you believe in, I really feel like that was saying, hey, slow down. Take a breath and slow down. Because especially someone like me that's boisterous and charismatic and always wanting to talk, one of the biggest tools that I had, one of my biggest strengths, I really couldn't use. And I think that it says something about the way 2020 has gone, Cedric. 2020 has gone. It's been a very challenging year, but I think that I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed all the people that we've interacted with virtually. The brunch was really nice when we could, you know, do things together. The brunch was awesome. I enjoyed the forum, and I'm looking forward to 2021. I mean, there's so much more going on. But when you're dealing with a virus as deadly as COVID-19, man, you just want to make sure everybody's safe. And as much as I love the people, as much as I love doing live events, I love making sure our people are safe. And so we've done some great virtual things, and it's made us think outside of the box on how we use different platforms and things of that nature. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. I think it's been just a very interesting learning process and a cocoon. And I know most people don't feel like that, but it really is. I've been growing and I've been understanding a lot about myself and the leadership team.
Well, so NSN is designed to help bring sales professionals or people that want to be a sales professional together in a group. So tell us a little bit about what the mission of the National Sales Network is.
Yeah, I mean, you just basically said it, Cedric. Bottom line, we definitely want to bring like-minded people that are interested in sales and sales leadership opportunities together. The Houston chapter is one of the biggest chapters in the nation. Everybody looks at the National Sales Network Houston chapter and tries to figure out what we have going on. We have amazing sales leaders within the Houston chapter. And I think that our biggest goal is to develop people that are already in this space and new people. I feel like there's a lot of people that don't think they're salespeople. And again, I think that everybody, I repeat, everybody that hears my voice and can communicate is a salesperson. A mother trying to feed their kids vegetables is a salesperson. A coach trying to inspire their team that's down by 20 at halftime is a salesperson. You just got to change the word. Are you an influencer? Are you a persuader? You want to get more likability? Do you want to have a powerful, boisterous voice? Like what is it that you're trying to do? Because it's all sales. And so our bottom line at the end of the day for me, we want to welcome everybody in the Houston area to come out to an event once we start having live events. But you can also check us out on our virtual spaces on Facebook and IG as well. I know Cedric will put it on the screen as well. But our main goal is to develop sales leaders, to develop sales associates, so they don't just look the part. We have a lot of beautiful people in the Houston area. We have a lot of beautiful people in the National Sales Network, but we want you to look the part and be the part. We want you to live what you're saying. We don't want you to just get a $300, $500 resume and hand it to someone. We want you to be prepared. And I like to compare the National Sales Network Houston chapter as a training facility before you meet that decision maker. Because if you're a part of the National Sales Network Houston chapter and you meet a decision maker, they're going to expect you to be prepared. Right. And we want to give you the tools to do that.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So either for your business or for the NSN, tell us how have you had to adjust because of the COVID crisis?
Yeah, definitely everything has gone virtual. As far as my business is concerned, I missed out on a few sales trainings and things of that nature. Some things had to be renegotiated as far as price and things of that nature. But, as far as NSN, we're still rocking and rolling. It's not the same as I believe it will be for next year. We tried to do our best as a leadership team to offer engagement. 87% of people in the workplace around the world are not engaged. Okay, that's from a poll from Gallup, and Gallup is well trusted. But that was in 2018. Could you imagine in 2020, everybody zoomed out, everybody's on virtual spaces? How engaged are they really? So for me, I just can't wait to get back to live stuff. And I think that, we're just blessed to have the opportunity personally in business with me and my wife and everything, to still have the company, to be able to still progress and do well, because we got a lot of virtual things that we have going on. I do a lot of personal development and grow virtually, and there's some courses that I have. I already have a course out, but I have another course that I'm working on, and I have I signed an NDA, so I can't really specifically talk about some things that some of my doctor friends and I have going on with some studies. But I have some things going on personally, but also with the National Sales Network. We've had some really, really great virtual experiences geared towards personal development and growth, getting your resume right, getting your LinkedIn together, and even with your health, figuring out, are you in a good mental capacity, different things that you can check on when it comes to your nutritional needs and things of that nature. And that's all available online. The last thing we did was the Mix, Mingle, and Master Sales Skills, which is available on our Facebook page as we speak. So we're just moving and grooving, man. We're not like Chuck E. Cheese that had to go bankrupt. I bring that up because that was my first job ever. So I'm like, no, not Chuck E. Cheese.
Hey, yes, it's happening to a lot of folks in this environment. So what makes you smile every day when you get up in the morning?
Oh man, my kids, man. My baby girl, my daughter who's 14, and my son that's about to be 17 months at the end of the month. This year has been a tough year, and so we're just grateful. You know me, Cedrick. I do everything in gratitude. I try to be a giver all the time, and so when I wake up in the morning, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to breathe. I'm grateful to be able to see my kids, to breathe in fresh air. Look at the backyard and just be like, just wow, and all of the little things. And I think it's the little things that make you just be appreciative of everything. I'm just a super grateful person. I've always been like that.
Well, that's awesome. So, leaders come in all different types of packages with different types of strengths. What are strengths do you feel that are important for successful leaders?
Yeah, the biggest one, and this is something that I work on, and I think all leaders work on this. My mentors, people that I'm inspired to be like, the fear, man. Removing fear. And fear, let me tell you guys something. Fear comes in so many shapes and sizes, Cedrick, and it doesn't always show itself as fear. Sometimes it shows itself as anxiety, nervousness, hesitation. And if anybody could, leave a comment if you can relate to this. I mean, what I've noticed this year, I've taken a back seat in being so aggressive. Right. And I've had to do that with the leadership team and other things that I've been working on. But I think the biggest thing that I'm trying to work on is to not worry so much, not have so much anxiety or fear. Just go ahead and do it. Put it out. I love, one of my mentors says, start messy. Start messy. Doesn't matter. So I think a huge strength is starting messy. Another strength, which kind of aligns with starting messy, is let your voice be heard. And the last one I would say is create the habits that are going to get you to your goal. So a lot of times people will have these goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they won't have a system in place to reach that goal. And I used to be one of those people, right? I used to be like, oh, I have these big goals and these big dreams, but I wouldn't write it down. I wouldn't have a system. And that's just like saying I want to be LeBron James. And that's step 28. And I'm on step 1 and I just try to jump up to 28. And I think if people understood the power of repetition, the power of habit, the power of creating that habit over and over and over and over and having that routine,
mm-hmm.
They would understand the power of mindset. They would understand the power of the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and they would achieve more. So I think those 3 things are probably the biggest things I think that would help leaders out.
Well, that is definitely awesome, and I definitely agree with those things that you listed. So, good leaders ask great questions. What have been some of the best questions that either you've asked that's made a big impact, or questions that someone asked of you and you think, man, that's a really great question?
Well, I've asked this to people, and I've actually had this asked to me, and the biggest thing is, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Because it's up to you. You have the power. What are you waiting for? I think that's one of the most important questions. I think when you talk leadership, and we've talked about this too, everything rises and falls with leadership. When you talk leadership, you have to ask this question, Cedrick, and I don't care how uncomfortable it is to anybody. Who are you doing it for? Right. Who are you doing it for? Because I was always taught to serve. You know, I had my grandmothers, my great grandmothers. I grew up in the church with them. I always served all the time. After Hurricane Harvey, we fed over 100,000 people, you know, with Be Good and Bread of Life. I was always taught to serve. So anything that I do is with my job, period, because I create more value in people's voices so they can tell better stories to their audience. But that's also serving, because I'm not doing it just to get money. I'm not saying, here, flashy stuff, pay me, and then you're not getting anything out of it. You're getting a great deal of value. I'm putting power in your voice. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that people should always ask the question to themselves or to their leadership team or to anybody else. Why are you here? Are you here to serve? That needs to be the number one priority, because if you're not here to serve and you're here for any other reason other than serving, you may get disappointed. You may get disappointed, because if you have look at 2020. If you have high expectations for yourself, that's cool. But the main perspective and the main priority should always be to serve. You can have those priorities. You can have all those things that you want to do. But if your main priority is not to serve, you will be disappointed, because you're going to focus your energy on all the other stuff.
Yes, you're absolutely right about that. So Lynn Lockett Sharif asks a great question. Says, how is the chapter engaging with corporate sponsors during COVID times?
Yeah, does she mean current sponsors?
Chapter. No, she's talking about what corporate. Well, even as current sponsors are you going out and finding new corporate sponsors during this COVID situation?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So yeah, great question. So this has been an interesting year. We've had several new sponsors come on board this year. I don't want to contribute it to just only some of the Black Lives Matter and stuff that's been going on. We've had other supporters support us, and what they've done at a national level, because of COVID, because of the live stuff that's been going, or lack of live communication that we've been doing, they've been doing a lot more job fairs, which has kind of taken the spotlight off of the local chapters with the bigger sponsors, but we still have good relationships with those sponsors. So anytime we have an event, you know, our VP of Business Development, Dante Milton, shout out to him. He's always inviting them. He's always giving them the sponsor deck, updated things that we're doing with the sponsors. Anything that our sponsors are needing us to email or send out to our membership, we do that. I think that we always, whether it's virtual or live, we always have to remember that we are in service to our sponsors and to our members. So even when we did the forum in February, we asked, hey, what do you guys want? What are you guys looking for? And then we had to pivot because all of a sudden we couldn't do live events, but we still gave them a really good amount of what they asked for in the virtual space. So we basically transferred that over to our sponsors as well.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that question, Lynn. So, hey, what are 2 or 3? Well, no, you know what? Before we do that, I always have a segment called Would You Rather? All right. Okay. So we're going to play Would You Rather with you as well. Would you rather have $1 million in Amazon gift cards or $100,000 in real money?
Say that one more time.
$1 million in Amazon gift cards or $100,000 in real money.
I'm gonna go with the million in Amazon gift cards.
You might as well, because you order from Amazon every day anyway.
I can definitely turn a profit on a lot of items that would. Actually, I'll probably buy about 50,000 of these and just sell them back to myself, and I'll make all the profit. Because if you buy my book on Amazon, they hit me over the head. If you buy it from me, it's a totally different story. So yeah, I'd take that million, Cedrick.
Okay, all right. So would you rather have free gas for 25 years or have your dream car?
I'm gonna go. Ooh, man, that's a trick question. You know why that's a trick question? I'd rather have my dream car. And we don't 25 years from now, we may not even be using gas. I want my dream car. That was a trick question.
Okay, all right. So, would you rather fulfill your biggest wish or resolve your biggest regret?
That's a hard. Ooh, that's a hard. Ooh, man. I don't have regrets like that. So I'll say my biggest wish. But I feel like my mindset, I'm already gonna get there regardless. So it's like, I could have stayed on the fence about that one, you know.
Okay. All right. Last one. So, would you rather have free Apple products forever or have free Wi-Fi wherever you go?
Free Apple products forever. I like to unplug a lot, Cedrick. Trust me. As much as I'm on screen, I like to talk a lot. I unplug a lot. And I need that time for meditation and chilling. So yeah, I don't need Wi-Fi. I don't need y'all to know where I am everywhere I go.
All right. So thanks for playing that segment of Would You Rather. So what are 2 or 3 things that an individual can do to achieve their goals?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the habits. I'm really big on that. Different strokes for different folks. And when I say that, you know, there are a lot of fitness gurus and people that'll say, hey, you got to work out, you got to do it like this, you got to do it like that. But if you are someone that has nothing to do with fitness and nothing to do with working out, you would assume, looking at somebody that's big or whatever, that they don't have the mindset to get the things that they desire. No, it's still a habit. We're still trying to figure out habits in our mindset. And so one of the things that I feel like people can do is just form better habits. You got to write stuff down. I always tell people to write stuff down in outline form so it doesn't stress you out. Just say, hey, what is my 3-year plan? What is my 5-year plan? And just start writing an outline out and do the research. Okay. And you got to invest in yourself, period. But if you have the extra money, you need to get you a virtual assistant, or you need to get you someone that can help you with a business plan if you don't know how to. There's plenty of resources on Google and YouTube, but you got to plant the seed. You can't just talk about it. You got to plant the seed. Right. There's too much information on the web. There are 8 billion people in the world, and half of those people use the internet. There's too much information out there for you not to be able to get the things that you desire. You just click a button and push enter.
Absolutely. So what's your most defining moments in life so far?
Most defining?
Yes.
Well, you know the saying when people say, I thought I knew patience until I had a child. I thought I knew this until this happened. Definitely the birth of my children, getting married to my beautiful wife, everything after, and I say this strongly, everything after Hurricane Harvey.
Everything after Hurricane Harvey.
Everything that happened after Hurricane Harvey shifted my mindset exponentially. And it gave me a different, and I'm not knocking anybody that's in a W-2. I just want to throw that out there. It gave me a different mindset of how people were using my abilities and my strengths and my voice, right? For years, people used my abilities for their profits. I made people millions of dollars, right? I remember, I'm not going to say the company. I remember when I first started out in pharmaceutical sales, they used to have these reports. And I don't know if these reports were just for the accountant, but I started realizing like I had like 6 or 7 products and I was making like $8 million a quarter for this one product. And I started off making, I don't know, 50 something. It wasn't that much. And I was scratching my head like, oh man, I'm making a lot of money just with this product. And I have like 8 products, So, right. Over years and years and years, things just started happening. And one thing that I'll say, and this may be a nugget for anybody that's listening, be careful what you wish for. because I used to say things like, I want to be the next Les Brown. I want to be the next Tony Robbins. I inspire to be like Oprah or this person or this person. And every single one of those people had trauma and dealt with a lot of different things. So everything that was happening to me after Hurricane Harvey and what I was experiencing, helping these people that literally came from a single family home to now they were homeless. And I was that bread of life, and I was helping these people every day because they didn't have food to put on their table. It made me have a different perspective on life and about my voice and how I could share my voice and how I could give back with my voice. Just feeding the homeless and all that stuff, man. I don't want to go too deep into that.
Sure.
But those were probably the most defining, because it took it away from me. It wasn't about me. It was about my kids. It was about my wife. It was about other people, and that's very humbling because the ego plays tricks on you. The ego makes you think that you have it all figured out. You are patient. You are this. You are all these things people say you're not until something happens.
Right. Absolutely. Yep. I agree with you wholeheartedly. So there's a question from an audience member, Matilda Caesar says, how often do you engage with your membership during the during this COVID time?
Yeah, so we engage with our membership probably about 2 to 3 times a day on our social media. Now, let me be clear about that. We do send emails out whenever we have our own personal local events. But because everything has been so virtual, a lot of the presidents and we all got together and said, look, it doesn't make any sense for you to be doing an interview thing on Tuesday and we do one on Wednesday. So pretty much for the last 8-9 months, we've been kind of coming together and saying, okay, we'll promote this for Chicago or this for Orlando or this for Atlanta. So it could be more of a national feel in a national community, because it didn't make sense for us to continue to do interview prep when 3 or 4 other chapters were doing it on the same days. So what we encourage people to do, and even people that are not members, because joining our Facebook page and our Instagram is free. We encourage you guys to check those out. We give free resources on those pages all the time. Now, if you are a member, you'll probably get an email from us maybe once a month, once every other month. We're trying to tighten that back up. We kind of took the summer off a little bit because we thought we were going to do some live events. And I know we worked and we did some disc stuff with the leadership team. And that's one thing I'm big on. It starts at the top. So we have to make sure our leadership team is okay. They're healthy mentally, emotionally, physically during this time before we reach back out to the membership. So I say on average, we probably on email, we're probably reaching out once every month, every other month. But we do stuff on social media like every single day. Rashida does an amazing job with that in our marketing team. I just want to give a special shout out to her. We definitely have stuff on our Facebook and our Instagram all the time.
Awesome. So, mentors are important, right? I know you mentioned earlier mentors, but Joe, the question may be redundant. I think you said it, but I just want to make sure. Do you have a mentor?
Yes.
All right. So then with that, how has that mentor impacted your professional journey?
Well, actually, I have 2 different mentors, but the one that I'll specifically talk about right now definitely makes things clearer for me. For example, like after we did the DISC assessments, and I'm an ISC or whatever, and after we did the DISC assessments, I actually reached out to someone that has been an entrepreneur their whole life, big business, multi-million-dollar companies, stuff like that. And that person told me that if you're dealing with a lot of I's, a lot of I personalities, a lot of times, and we had a one-off conversation about this, a lot of times they won't always communicate the real deal with you, right? It'll be more fluff, or it's like a connection piece. It's like they want to keep the connection, so they really don't want to hurt your feelings, or they want to be nice to you, right? And because I'm so used to being in a space talking, you know how doctors are, being like black and white, straightforward. It's this or that. Like doctors can get in your face and point in your face and say all kinds of crazy stuff to you, and you don't flinch. And so years and years and years of that, even as coming up as an ISC or whatever, my thing is like, I just want you to give it to me black and white. And he humbled me by saying, it's the hardest thing to try to get acceptance from other eyes. You need to find different ways. And so he gave me some tools and different structures to facilitate those conversations. But I never looked at it like that. I never looked at it as everybody's just trying to be nice. Everybody's just trying to be friendly. They're not like the doctors. They're not like when I was in the lab. Like I would have the most straightforward, honest conversations with CFOs and CEOs and owners of labs because I was at the head of the table. I was there talking to them, and they were like, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're not going to do. This is what it is, black and white, you know. And when you're dealing with salespeople and happy people, and I don't want to say kumbaya, but when you're dealing with that type of energy and that vibe, it's like, hey, I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. So we're going to smile. We're gonna laugh. Everything is cool. You know what I'm saying? So, and so I had to figure that out the hard way, Cedrick. I really did. I had to really like get in tune with that, you know, and he helped me do that a lot.
Okay. All right. And so, you know, I always tell people you need to have multiple mentors, right? You need a mentor for your professional life. You may need a mentor to help you in your personal life. You may need a financial mentor. You may need mentors for different times and points in your life. So mentors can definitely play a huge role and impact in your life. And they're designed to help not only just give you advice, but also challenge you, push you, right? And so that's awesome. So what's next for you in life? You got a lot going on, but what's next?
Yeah, right now, man, I'm just and again, I can't talk too much about the other stuff. I'm really focused on planting the right seeds for success. That is for NSN, definitely for my family and for my business. I have some really big things in the works. Again, I have my book that's out, and I also have my course, the 4-Win Language Academy. And what that focuses on is communicating just a little bit better, creating more value in your voice so you can tell better stories to your audience. But it's super engaging. A lot of times when we're on webinars and things like this, you know, they can get kind of drawn out or boring or whatever. But I've designed the course. I've used the psychology of colors. I've done different things with my voice to make people kind of be more engaged. I've designed the course to where they don't necessarily have to be sitting down at a computer. They could listen to a good amount of it audio and then go back and do some of the exercises. But a lot of times, there's research done on this, like being able to, like when you listen to audiobooks and things of that nature, there's different research on how that affects the subconscious mind and stuff like that. And 95% of the data that we have in our head is in our subconscious. And so I do touch on that, and I touch on the subconscious mindset and the value of that, and the value of repetition, the value of habit, and what I like to call the inside voice. So those are my main two things I'm working on. And then the next course is going to be something I can't really speak on it too much now, but it's going to be like some next level stuff. And I'm super excited about it. And very grateful to be in the community that I am in to actually do it.
Okay. And so Matilda asked, can you share the link to your course?
Sure. Yeah. It's at LaDarrellHopkins.com. You can go right there to www.LaDarrellHopkins.com.
Yeah. So his website is streaming across the screen, Matilda.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. So then, from a leadership perspective, why do you think personal growth is so important?
I mean, what else is there, Cedric? I mean, honestly, no, seriously, and I say that joking, but you know, I posted this the other day on my Instagram. You know, a lot of people like to talk about growth and how great growth is, but they don't like to talk about the uncomfortability.
Mm-hmm.
Like people like to talk about Jeff Bezos, but they don't really talk about when he was in the room with the sign in the back, that the paper sign that said Amazon. They like to talk about people where they're at in their success, but they don't know what they got there. The one person that I can think of that me and my wife laugh about now is the financial guru, the financial advisor,
Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey. We listen to him all the time. A lot of people that are just following him or just knowing his story, they don't know that he's been bankrupt a few times and lost everything that he's had. That comes from experience. So personal growth is uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I have actually, like, I don't want to say I search for the uncomfortable spots, but I'm enjoying them. I know that sounds a little crazy. I know, right? It's almost like, okay, because it's almost like, if you know, the old mamas used to say the storm is over now, right? It's almost kind of like you look for the storm, but it's like, but the sun comes in the morning, right? It's like once you recognize that this is not a loss, this is a lesson. Once you recognize that growing, every time you have an uncomfortable cocoon that you may be in, there's growth, and now you have experience, and now you can learn from that. Now you don't have to do it the same way. That is personal development. That is personal growth. There is nothing more important for you and your family, you and your business, you and your relationship with your husband or wife. There is nothing more important than personal growth, because what it really defines is growing within.
Yes.
So yeah, there's nothing more important than the personal growth and growing from within, Cedric. So that was a great question. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, man, this hour has like zoomed by.
I'm long-winded, man.
So I appreciate you coming on the show. You've been listening to Mr. LaDarrell Hopkins, and I'll tell you what, folks. If you missed the beginning of the show, go back and listen to it again. I'll be doing a watch party for it again later on this evening as well. But you can catch it on here. You can catch it on YouTube as well. So thank you for coming on. I totally appreciate that.
Thank you.
Now, folks, at 6:30, just here in a few minutes, I will be teaching on the Empowered Living Network, the Empowered Living channel on Facebook. It's the show is called Black Entrepreneur Institute Live. And let me tell you what, if you're ready to own your dream, if you're ready to walk into your glory, into your passion, then go listen to that teaching that I'm going to be doing. And again, it's on the Empowered Living channel, Facebook channel. I put the link in the chat, so you can click on that and it'll take you right to that. That's going to be happening in the next 2 minutes. And then at 7:30, come right back here, 7:30 Central Time, come right back here to Facebook, and you're going to listen to Talk with TK, and she's going to be filling you up with positive affirmation and mindsets with her Mindset 180 Academy. On Thursday, tune in to Talk Leadership with Cedrick on the radio. You know, every Thursday at 4 p.m. Central, I'm on the radio at ibgr.network. Folks, remember, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, and you never want to be on the menu. Thank you, and have a good night. We'll see you next week.